One common reason for not being concerned about AI as a threat to human existence is that it is a distraction from more immediate issues. And there are many, including artists having their work stolen, widespread unemployment, bias and discrimination, deepfakes and misinformation, AI-driven military weapons, and so on. For example, Timnit Gebru, a prominent AI researcher, was sharply critical of the Future and Life's open letter calling for a pause on large AI experiments, stating, "It is indeed time to act, but the focus of our concern should not be imaginary, powerful digital minds. Instead, we should focus on the very real and very present exploitative practices of the companies claiming to build them, who are rapidly centralizing power and increasing social inequities." The interesting thing to note here is that Gebru and the Future of Life are in absolute 100% substantive agreement here, both in terms of the problem, reckless development of AI without consideration of the consequences, and the solution, slowing down, creating standards, and getting the public involved in shaping the direction AI takes. Their only disagreement is that they have chosen to devote their time to addressing different negative consequences of the same problem. On its face, this strikes me as a rather odd objection. After all, the world is obviously capable of having more than one problem. For example, I think climate change is a big deal. So is homelessness. These are not mutually exclusive. The injustice surrounding homelessness doesn't in any way negate climate change, and in the same way, the problem of artists being put out of work by Midjourney doesn't in any way negate long-term dangers of future AI systems. I mean, if you have some reason for believing AI is not going to become dangerous anytime in the foreseeable future, cool, that's worth exploring. But to say that AI will never be dangerous because some unrelated problem exists seems less like a counterargument and more like an indirect way of justifying not engaging with the topic at all. But even that doesn't make sense, because if you don't want to think about something, you just don't think about it. There seems to be this underlying assumption that focus is a scarce, limited resource, and so whatever you put into one issue is necessarily subtracted from other issues. And this isn't entirely wrong. In the context of activism, for example, the time I spend putting together these videos is time I theoretically could be spending advocating for climate-related issues or volunteering at the homeless shelter. But there are two problems with treating concern over social issues as a zero-sum game. First, the pool is big. Realistically, if I wasn't creating these videos, I would not be spending that time on some other form of activism. I would be building or playing video games. Likewise, if an AI company invests in value alignment research, that's probably not coming out of the resources that would otherwise go into reducing algorithmic bias. And if the government sets regulatory standards for when it is safe to train larger models, that does not in any way inhibit it from passing legislation that protects the livelihood of artists. Second, the interests are in many ways complementary. Making AI less of a black box and understanding what exactly is happening inside those neural networks would be helpful for preventing bias and misinformation, and for mitigating longer-term risks. Further, a common theme driving all of the concerns surrounding AI is the lack of democratic control. Right now, all of the major decisions about AI are being made by a small handful of corporate executives in a small region of California, with a predictable fixation on short-term profits over the public well-being. I've personally chosen to focus on long-term risks of AI because they are the most severe. If you are more concerned about different things happening now, you're not wrong. People are different and are naturally drawn to different things, and that's okay. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if you are more worried about bias today, misinformation tomorrow, unemployment in years, or human extinction in decades. The solution is the same. Pause AI now.